2025 was a year of ups and downs, and we will get to the downs soon enough. But it's time to celebrate the good things. Hello everybody, Jake here, and if you don't know or if you're new here, the goal of this channel is to discover lost or forgotten or obscure science fiction works and authors and bring them back out into the light. And so I can proudly say that many on this list are completely unknown or at least seriously underrated. And for this list, I am only considering my deep dive review episodes. So there won't be any rolling shorties, no buddy reads, no that I've done with other channels. Books we reviewed on the Elusive Exclusive Book Society, or just books I personally read on the side, okay? It's just the review episodes. So without further ado, here are the top 10 science fiction books of 2025 that I read on my channel. Death Beast by David Gerald. In hindsight, I was probably a little too hard on this time-traveling, dinosaur-hunting, balls-to-the-wall action blast. When I consider which ebook ranking book I would reread, Death Book roared head and shoulders above the rest. Costigan's Needle by Jerry Soule. This is a competent, engaging, and well-written pulpy adventure by an author who no one talks about. The story is good and so unique. Decisions made in the third act are a bit of a letdown, but it still doesn't detract from the enjoyability. Read some more Soule, folks! The White Ship by Ian Cameron. They set out to find legendary golden seals in the most desolate place on Earth, but instead find ghostly terror in Antarctica. Light on the science fiction, but the adventure more than makes up for it. The Secret People by John Bain and Harris, which is a bit of a trick because Harris is a pseudonym for John Wyndham. It's just what you'd expect from Wyndham. Unapologetic pulp and non-stop fun. This book freaking rocks, and I would recommend it to anyone. The Greatest Adventure by John Taine. Look at that cover. Look at it. What you see is what you get. So imaginative, well written, surprisingly funny, and the story grips you from start to finish. I did not want this to end. Plus, this is one of the oldest stories I reviewed all year. Not only does it hold up, it stands a fanged brontosaurus head above the competition. The Other Passenger by John Keir Cross. This right here is the reason for this channel. Zero people talk about Cross or this collection of his short stories, and that is borderline criminal. Out of everything I've read this year, this book is what I still think about the most. Star Rider by Doris Pasertia. This is pure, unbridled imagination running free from an underrated author whose writing career was cut too short. During the New Wave movement, so many authors were pushing boundaries, rattling the cage of societal norms, and turning the microscope on science fiction to dissect it. Then along comes Pasertia, who is just having fun playing in the stars. Unforgettable. Before we get to the top 3, here are a couple honorable mentions. Assault on the Gods by Stephen Golden and Slater's Planet by Harris Moore. Very, very different novels, but both quite similar with their back halves. And what I mean by that is after the halfway point, it is non-stop excellent action. Flawed, but very fun popcorn books. Path to Savagery by Robert Edmond Alter. This book made me fall back in love with a genre that I had grown bored of, post-apocalyptic. I joked in the cold open that this book had it all, but it actually wasn't a joke. Engaging would be an understatement. I physically could not put this down. The depths of themes here sneak up on you, and the action is top tier with a third act that rivals any action story, movie, whatever. It is phenomenal. Jewel in the Skull by Michael Moorcock. This was voted on All You during Fantasy February. Moorcock is not an obscure or underrated author, and this book is proof positive as to why. It's the best fantasy story I've read this year. It might be one of the best I've ever read. And number 1, and many of you saw this coming a mile away, House on the Borderlands by William Hope Hutchison. When I read this back in March, I knew then that it would be the best book I read this year. It's not, that was a dang old good book. It's a masterpiece from a master writer. It's also the oldest book I've reviewed, well over 100 years old. This year I've noticed Hodgson has been receiving more praise and acclaim from booktubers, and well-deserved, but it's a crime that he isn't counted by the masses among the likes of Lovecraft, Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, and other weird fiction royalty. But I'm telling you, he will be, and he will be soon. Woo! 2025 has given us some bangers. Have you read any of these? Or, you know what, I would love to hear the top books you've read this year in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time with
man.